So welcome everybody. This is the synopsis of my introduction. I was going to go through the objectives and background of this meeting, give you some historical insights and introduction. I'll give you a brief overview of our MS research program. The reason for doing this is that we have a brief. As a group of people who research multiple sclerosis, we get given grants by awarding agencies like the Multiple Sclerosis Society, the National MS Society, the MRC. And part of those, our commitment to the grants is to engage the public, the people who benefit from our science in our work. So that's the main objective, to give you a research update of the work we're doing and to communicate our research to you in a way that's understandable to you. And I think it's quite an exciting time in the field of MS. There's lots of major advances have happened over the last decade. So this is an overview of our MS research program. And most people who think about multiple sclerosis have this kind of figure, this kind of picture in their head. The disease starts off with relapses early on, and most people recover from their relapses completely. And then after a period of time, they stop recovering, start becoming disabled. And then over time, the relapses disappear and they enter into the secondary progressive phase of it. So the obvious question is, can we modify this disease course? And we have a large research program looking at disease-modifying therapies. And you'll hear a talk today from Rachel Farrell about some of the work we've done to try and optimize existing treatments. I mean, you'll hear about our program on neutralizing antibodies to interferon beta. Dr. Turner will give you some idea about how we're trying to reduce the risks associated with a therapy called Tysabri, which is licensed for use in this country. And then Dr. Elrington will give you a rundown on new treatments that are in development. We have a very active trial program, and he will go through some of the exciting developments in regard to the trials. And obviously, a very unmet need is people with progressive disease, and we'll have a talk by Sarah from our group, who will give you a rundown on some of the neuroprotective strategies, the drugs we're trying to, or the strategies we're trying to develop to slow down this progressive phase of the disease. And Yuti is going to give you a presentation on stem cells, which are one of the therapies we're working on, still early in development, to try and restore function in this phase of the disease. Other things we work on, to test drugs in this phase of the disease, we have to be able to monitor the disease more carefully, and the current tools we use to monitor the disease are not suitable really for monitoring the progressive phase of the disease. So we do have a research program looking at new outcome measures, and Ruth Dobson's going to just mention something briefly about a tool we're trying to develop to monitor the illness, and you'll see a poster by Maria on using activity monitors to monitor the disease. Now, the other thing you'll also see is Sharmali has got a poster up on biomarkers. These are a strategy to try and measure the pathological processes in MS as well. Then symptomatic therapies, you mustn't forget about those. These are treatments to make people feel better. It doesn't stop the disease process, but it treats, for example, spasticity, pain, fatigue. And David Baker will present in some of the work he's been doing using animal models, okay, to test symptomatic treatments that we can take into patients. Then you can't do this without testing drugs and therapies in people with multiple sclerosis. And this is what we're very grateful for people who've got the disease volunteering for clinical trials. And I actually think there's very little difference between clinical service and the clinical research we do, because they're part and parcel of the same service we provide. So one of the reasons why large numbers of patients get referred to us or come to our hospital is because they want to participate in clinical trials. And we get a lot of referrals for that. And you'll hear a bit later on a talk by Sarah Sudain, who runs the CRC, about the service we provide in terms of clinical trials. And then you'll hear a lot today throughout the talks and with the posters, work we do on basic science. Sandra Amor is going to talk to you about pathology. Sam Jackson is going to talk to you about cell culture. And you'll hear about why we need animal models to do research as well.